Today they'll try to reel in Mike Trout one last time before the road trip. Time for some racquetball. Astros baseball starts now.
Live from Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas, Root Sports brings you Houston Astros baseball. Today it's the finale of the homestand. The Astros taking on the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Good afternoon, everybody. Beautiful day in Houston. Bill Brown, Alan Ashby, Julia Morales with you for the Astros finale to this homestand, and they can be 3-3 on the homestand with a win today and 6-6 to open the season if they can get this one, Ash.
So maybe it sounds like a big day for Scott Feldman and company this afternoon.
And last night was a big day to put them in this position as they won it 4-0, got a couple of long balls.
Well, they got some great pitching to get it going throughout the entire night, but George Springer finally launches that first home run of the year, and it came at a great time. Made it 1-0. As it turned out, that was all they would need on the night, but Robbie Grossman stepped in and added one more opposite field. A 3-run bomb that expanded that lead to 4-0, made the last couple of innings feel a lot easier, and the breathing room in the dugout is getting rather nice for the club.
Coming up, the big three. Colin McHugh and Dallas Keuchel are steamrolling the opposition. Scott Feldman hopes to join them. Julia Morales talks about Scott's game plan for the season when we return.
To win this series against their division rivals before they hit the road, and Scott Feldman will be on the mound. The Astros looking to him to get that series win today. Starting pitching has been great so far this season, keeping these guys in games when the offense has struggled to do so. So we're going to take a look back at some of the impressive arms. It's powered by Kubota, some of the impressive arms in the starting rotation. We'll start with Colin McHugh. Wednesday night, a big win over the A's. He led the way, striking out the side in the first inning and then punched out 11 eventually, allowing just 1 run and 5 2/3. Just 1 strikeout off of his career high. Nicely done there. And then there's the lefty Dallas Keuchel receiving his Gold Glove the night before his start on Saturday, and he tossed 6 scoreless that night, allowed just 2 hits. That's 10 consecutive starts for Dallas Keuchel that have been quality starts. Pretty impressive stuff. Scary thing is he's still working on things. And then you see Scott Feldman, who will try to follow suit. He's trying to bounce back from a tough start against the A's, but he is one of the Astros guys. The big 3 of the Astros, if you will. 3 guys that the Astros see as the core of their starting rotation. Feldman saying it's very important to have that, not just for the fans, but for the team, the guys playing behind them. There's a sense of confidence and comfort when these guys are all on the mound. Well, it's all up to Feldman tonight. Coming up, it's been feast or famine for Astros pitching this series against Mike Trout. What worked last night against the reigning MVP? Well, Ash and Brownie are going to break it all down next.
Story building under the roof. And the great roof itself is a marvel containing more than 4,500 7 by 3 feet skylight panels. Sunlight will filter through to keep the grass on the field growing. It's 406 feet to straightaway center field in the $24 million dome stadium, suitable also for football, boxing, and conventions. Houston's weather is hot and humid in baseball months, so 2.5 million cubic feet of air will be cooled and circulated each minute. Good enough, say the fans, but can a ball be hit off the roof? The Colts gave it a whirl, and not one of their top fungo hitters came closer than 30 feet from the apex, 208 feet above second base.
Very nicely done, ladies and gentlemen.
Now this finale for the homestand with the Astros and Angels deciding this series this afternoon. It will be the return of Garrett Richards to the mound after surgery last year on his knee, and a much anticipated day for the Halos. He is a big linchpin in their plans for this season. And of course Mike Trout, always a factor as far as the opposing pitcher goes. How do you get him out, Ash?
Well, we found some ways last night with Dallas Keuchel pitching him up consistently, up and in particular. And then Keuchel also found a way to get this guy who takes that low pitch and drives for home runs, as he did twice in one ball game in the first game of this series. Mike Trout's a terrific hitter, but with Dallas Keuchel last night, the changeup after working up and in really worked out well, got him as a strikeout victim. And we've seen over the last year plus what goes on with Mike Trout. Believe it or not, that heat map right there is of the guy that was the MVP in the American League last year. The red area is strikeout region, so you can see he strikes out, swings through pitches that are up quite a bit, also away on him. It's hard to imagine that that guy managed to be the MVP last year and last night, the way Dallas Keuchel went after him. We get a little peek as Keuchel comes up and in. And that's by the book, just perfect. Again, working it in and getting Trout to fish a little bit. Away, trying to nip the outside corner, and then up and in. So at that point, it's perfectly set up for the changeup. Keuchel gets the strikeout, and Trout finally had his hitting streak snapped. Pat Neshek came on, same formula, even with that drop-down slider. The Frisbee gets him in the top of the strike zone. So we'll see if the Astros continue that same pattern here this afternoon.
Scott Feldman has been watching, of course, a few hours ago. Now it's his turn to try to figure out how to get Mike Trout. Trout is 5 for 14 with 2 career homers against Feldman. Feldman shoots for win number 1 of the season. Here's the lineup for the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. In right field, it's Cole Calhoun, followed by center fielder Mike Trout. The first baseman is Albert Pujols. The cleanup man is left fielder Matt Joyce, with David Freese at third base, Eric Ibar the shortstop. Then it's C.J. Cron the DH, Drew Butera is the catcher, and Johnny Giobatella is at second base.
On the mound for the Astros is the right-hander of the vet, Scott Feldman. A couple of starts already on the year. Numbers not glowing at the moment. 0-2 with a .617. Got roughed up his last start, that against Oakland. 5 innings of 7 earned run baseball. 3 home runs allowed in that one. And lifetime against the Angels, 5-8 over 25 games. 16 as a starter.
Cole Calhoun just took a look at ball 1. He starts the day at .259, including a homer. 5 runs batted in. Off the plate, and it's 2-0 to Calhoun, who has scored 5 runs. And the Angels have gone 5 and 6 out of the gate. Calhoun is 2 for 9 in his career against Feldman. Cole had 2 hits and a walk, scored 3 runs in the opener of this series Friday night. 0 for 3 with a walk last night. Fouls that one back with a big swing. It's a 2-ball, 1-strike count. The infield continues to play him as a pull hitter. And the third baseman, Valbuena, is on the grass. So that is an attempt to take the bunt away from Calhoun.
Yeah, you give that appearance of the one guy on the left side up, drawn in a bit, and the bunt gets taken away in most cases.
2-2. I believe that's a change for the Astros defensively since last year, Ash.
Without question. You know, it's something that has been seen previously, but the Astros tended to keep the man back, and right now Valbuena backs up a bit on that left side. Keep in mind always that the closer you come to the plate on that side, the more percentage of ground you're actually covering, and then you also take away the bunt. I think it's win-win.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing you've pointed out before as far as the angle goes. And a big part of that decision to move him in tight.
Now, if a guy hits the ball sharply to one side or the other, you have less reaction time, granted, but you are actually covering more of a percentage of the field.
The Angels are going back to the state of California until mid-May after this game today.
Boy, they have a very favorable schedule in terms of not much travel. They're home tomorrow night to start a homestand of 7 games, 4 with Oakland, 3 with Texas. Then they go to Oakland and San Francisco for a week, back home for Seattle, Houston, and Colorado. Their next road game outside California will be May 15th in Baltimore. Astros leave on a 9-game road trip after this one today. Swing and a miss by Calhoun. Feldman regrouping from a 2-0 count to get the leadoff man on strikes.
Defensively for the Astros this afternoon in the outfield, left to right, Robbie Grossman, Colby Rasmus getting the start at center, and George Springer in right. First home run last night. Left side of the infield, Luis Valbuena. Jed Lowry is short. On the right side, Jose Altuve and Chris Carter. And behind the plate, Chris Carter once again as he works with Scott Feldman.
Mike Trout had the memorable night Friday night with a pair of home runs, giving him 101 for his career. Shoots that one out of play. There's strike one to a 400 hitter with 3 homers, 9 runs batted in. He has scored 9. His OPS well over 1100 to open the season. 1132.
That first pitch, Brownie, that fastball down somewhat above the knees, out over the plate. That's a pretty good zone for Trout.
No balls, 2 strikes to the 23-year-old superstar who has reached the combination of 100 homers and 100 steals, faster than anybody. A little bit faster than Alex Rodriguez did it. Jed Lowry at shortstop, setting up. And the pitch is up to Trout. It's 1-2 for Feldman. Feldman 5-8 lifetime against the Angels with a 4.80 ERA for 8 starts. First start here was very good, but he lost it 2-0, giving Cleveland 1 run in 6 2/3 innings. And it's fouled away. Still a 1-ball 2-strike count. This number 2 hitter, as good as they come in the major leagues, the reigning MVP, and he can do so much damage. If he's on first, he's a threat to steal, and he's always a threat in the batter's box to go deep. In addition to hitting 36 homers last year, he belted 39 doubles and had 9 triples. Albert Pujols is on deck. The Angels took the 6-3 win on Friday night. Trout hit a 2-run homer in the 6th. That gave them the lead 3-1, and then a 3-run homer in the 8th that snapped the 3-3 tie. That gave him a 10-game hitting streak to open the season, but last night he was 0 for 4. Upstairs, he started the bat but took ball 2. He was the 25th player drafted in 2009. Perhaps there was a stigma because he was from New Jersey, a cold weather state. Hadn't played as much baseball as some of the guys in the draft. He fouls that one. That's worked out pretty well for the Halos.
I would imagine players from New Jersey now are at the top of the list to be able to grab. These guys are powerful and fast.
Both these clubs are 5-6. They're both a half game off the lead in the AL West. Trout takes it. Now 3-2 as Trout works his way back into a very favorable situation.
Mike Trout is, in my opinion, aided by the fact that he shoots the ball to right field with authority. He just stays in with the front side. He's always ready for whatever the pitch may be.
Three-two up the middle. Feldman. He prevented a single. Altuve was moving up the middle. That ball was hit sharply. 2 outs.
Pretty good play defensively just to knock it down and get the out. See how Scott Feldman is able to react to it. On the glove side, a big part of that play. Altuve was, as you were saying, getting in position. Might have been able to make the play anyway.
Might have been. Trout would have really forced a great throw. Now here's Albert Pujols. Trout hit it sharply. Pujols, a 154 hitter with 2 homers, has driven in 5. Albert is hitless in this weekend series, 0 for 7 with a walk.
It was an interesting shot in the dugout of Trout smiling after making the out. Not many guys are that comfortable, that confident, and almost as if Trout kind of working on his game like, I've got him set up. I'm all ready for that next at bat.
Ground ball and through the right side. The Astros were shifted the other way on Pujols. He took it to right for a 2-out single.
Much like Prince Fielder, who kind of worked the other side of the shift recently. Pujols in the last couple of years has done the same thing. Finding that big right side, and you can see him. He's shooting that way all the way.
He's aboard for Matt Joyce with 2 outs. 206. Matt Joyce's batting average. He's driven in 4. He is 0 for 4 with an RBI this weekend here. Infield shifting back the other way for him. The Angels have a lot of pull hitters on ground balls. We've seen the Astros overshifted on most of the Angels hitters this weekend. That's ball 1 to Joyce.
I could see having Carter play right behind Albert Pujols, who isn't likely under any scenario to be on the move.
It's in for a strike. 1-1. Mike Estabrook is the home plate umpire. Pujols is 0 for 1 in base stealing this season. Had 5 steals last year. In for a strike. 1-2 with David Freese on deck. Feldman came around at the end of spring training. His numbers weren't much, but he got in his work, and that last start against Kansas City here was a good one for Scott. And he pops it upstairs by Joyce with his second strikeout. No runs a hit and the man left. The Astros come up against Garrett Richards in just a moment. Airlines, no score after 1/2 inning. Now the Astros come up against Garrett Richards with the leadoff man Jose Altuve on an 8-game hitting streak. He's at second base. Luis Valbuena at third. George Springer in right field. Evan Gattis the DH. Jed Lowry the shortstop. Jason Castro the catcher. At first base Chris Carter. In center field today Colby Rasmus. In left field Robbie Grossman.
Young right-hander, a phenom, Garrett Richards on the mound. First time out in the big leagues now since last year, August 20th. Tore that left patellar tendon at Fenway Park. It was an ugly scene, and it really looked like it might do in the Angels. They continued to play well lifetime against the Astros in 9 games. 6 as a starter, 4-1, and you would figure as much. Very, very tough stuff.
Just about 8 months to the day since that injury you talked about, August 20th. He faces Jose Altuve. Altuve has put together an 8-game hitting streak, .289 for the season, with a .347 on base percentage. And he looks at ball one. Jose is 2 for 6 with an RBI this weekend. Ground ball in the hole at shortstop. Ibar. Off balance throw, safe. And Pujols was pulled off the base according to Dana DeMuth's signal. So Altuve, and it looks like it's going to be challenged. Pujols immediately indicated that he wanted that call challenge. We'll see what Mike Scioscia decides to do.
Yeah, for me, this is one of those plays when once called safe, it's going to be tough to turn it around. Did the cleats stay in contact with the base? I'm not sure that it's going to be easy to verify Albert Pujols deemed to have come off. Clearly the throw beat him. Nice play by Ibar. Yeah. Say clearly the throw beat him. It's close, but beat him. And from that view, I would say Sir Albert did a pretty nice job. Boy, that's how close Jose Altuve can make what for most guys is a routine ground ball to shortstop.
So the manager's challenge has been initiated by Mike Scioscia on that call by Dana DeMuth. DeMuth, the crew chief with the headsets on. One of 2 umpires there wearing the headsets as the play is reviewed in New York.
Is there anything on that play that's indisputable that says Pujols stayed on the bag? Because that's what's required now to change it.
Did you think he had the ball of his foot on first base?
Looked to me like it was not in the process of being pulled, but that isn't to say that it was necessarily on the bag to begin with. But that's what the umpires now get to determine. How does this replay rule now work? Because there have been some tweaks to it. If a manager is right or incorrect here in the first inning, how does that impact the rest of his day?
I think that's still the same, that he has 1 in the first 6 innings. And if he uses it and it's not correct, no more for the first 6 innings. But if he does get it overturned, if he is correct on his challenge, he can use that one again.
On a play like that, yeah, first innings you don't want to fall behind. Statistics say if you fall behind, the odds are you're going to lose the ball game. But that's a tough one to be challenging this early in the ball game, I would think.
So now the umpires are talking it over, and apparently consulting different angles, and they have several angles in New York in the studio. Here you have it.
And again, look at Altuve, how close he makes this play on that ground ball with the shortstop coming in and to his right a couple of steps. That is really good speed and hustle down the line every time for Jose.
It does appear that the ball did beat him by just a fraction of a step.
Yeah, don't imagine that's in dispute.
No, you're right. And the indication from DeMuth was that Pujols' foot was pulled off the base, so that's what's being reviewed.
And at what point can you say, no, it didn't come off the base?
Safe is the call.
And you can see Mike Scioscia shaking his head. That's a tough spot to be challenging a play because of that determination that, no, absolutely, the foot stayed on the bag. That's a tough one.
Altuve has a 9-game hitting streak, and he's aboard for Valbuena. Meanwhile, Garrett Richards had that delay. Richards had a rehab start a few days ago against the Astros AAA Fresno club. Valbuena the batter. Valbuena takes, and it's strike 1. Luis at 200 with 2 homers, 2 runs batted in.
By the way, Brownie, of note, that infield single for Altuve now has him for the first time over the 300 mark on the year.
That is notable. George Springer is on deck. Double play depth for Ibar and Gio Vitella. Valbuena takes ball 1. It's 1-1. Well, you pointed out that Altuve passed the .330 batting average. What was it, in June last year?
It was June 18th, I believe, was the date. Now I'm talking about at the end of ball games. During the course of a ball game, he may have dipped below, but by the end of games, never again below 330.
One ball, two strikes. Richards, a first-round pick in 09. He was the 42nd player drafted that year, so technically after the 30 clubs had drafted in the first round, but before the second round. He had the 5th best ERA in the American League, 2.61 last year, while going 13-4 and averaging a strikeout per inning. Altuve takes off. Here's the throw from Butera. It's there. And out is the call on the tag by Ibar.
You want to see one of the really outstanding catchers in Major League Baseball, and this guy has played so little because, quite frankly, he just doesn't have much of a bat to go along with things. But defensively, this guy can really play. Comes out firing, he puts it on the money. Watch it. Drew Butera will make life tough on anybody on the bases.
Count 2-2. That's out number 1. First time Altuve has been caught stealing this season. He was 4 for 4.
Okay, so Brownie, that actual date, June 19th.
Okay.
331 is where Jose finished and never dipped below again the rest of the year.
Amazing. Foul by Valbuena. Now Richards is 4-1 lifetime against Houston with a 3.61 ERA. He's given up just 1 run in his last 19 1/3 innings against the Astros in his career at Minute Maid Park. 3-0 with a 0.60 ERA. That was the first caught stealing the Astros have had this season in 12 tries. Valbuena takes a walk. Richards walked 51 in 168 innings. The numbers were really ironclad for him last season. Terrific year.
Defensively for the Angels, outfield left to right, Matt Joyce, Mike Trout, and Cole Calhoun. On the left side of the infield, David Freese and Eric Ibar. On the right, it's Johnny Giavotella and Albert Pujols behind the plate. Drew Butera, remember that name. He makes a big difference defensively.
George Springer bats. Hit his first home run of the year last night, and his first since last year, July 19th. He was out with the torn quad muscle for months after that. A 150 start for George, 1 homer, 3 runs batted in. 1 for 6 this weekend. Works the count to 2-0 with Evan Gattis to follow. The Astros 2-3 on this homestand. They lost 2 of 3 to Oakland. Their all-time record against the Angels, 21-25. Springer takes a look at it. It's a strike, and it's 2-1. This is the best start for the Astros for 11 games at 5-6 since the 07 season.
I bet you George Springer would like to have this one back. That's that just inside of dead center on the plate, and Springer can launch that one.
It's in for a strike, and it's 2-2.
Of course, your reaction time is very brief at 95 miles an hour.
Richards is from Riverside, California. Went to the University of Oklahoma. Last year was his coming out year as a major leaguer. Ground ball slowly hit to third. David Freese juggles and safe at first. He couldn't find the handle, and that allowed Springer to reach with Valbuena taking second. Error on Freese.
Well, that pressure of Springer going down the line with the great wheels maybe creates this error. But that bobble enough to make it happen. Question I would ask is, and watch how far Springer's by the bag after the bobble and throw. With a clean catch, is he definitively out? Probably.
Second error on Freese. Now Evan Gattis has runners at first and second with 1 out. Gattis is 2 for 8 in this series. His 4-game hitting streak ended last night, but he was 2 for 4 Friday night. Gaddis takes a look at it, and it's ball 1 to Evan. He showed up in the clubhouse ready for work, all dressed up today, suit and tie, ready to travel. Takes a look at ball 2, and it's 2-0 to Evan. Just went deep in his ballpark, and he showed the power that he has for these fans. That was in the finale of the Oakland series Wednesday night. He had a rough 0 for 23 start to the season. And now he's 3-0.
I would imagine a green light is in play right here for Evan Gaddis. Whether he takes advantage of it, we'll see. But he's starting to swing the bat with some pretty positive effect, very aggressively.
That one moves him back, and it's ball 4. The bases are loaded for Jed Lowry. Richards trying to settle in, and it's been a disjointed kind of an inning, you might say, Ash, with the Altuve infield hit. There was a review on that, so after he faced one batter, he had to wait. Then he walked Valbuena, and then the error by his third baseman Freese. Now another walk.
Yeah, with those 2 ground balls that you could argue on the Angels side that maybe should have resulted in outs. You get the caught stealing. That certainly plays big for the Angels. A couple of walks. How sharp is Garrett Richards? I couldn't begin to say, but I can tell you his stuff jumps right back into form at 95 miles an hour on the heater.
Mark Butcher went out for a visit, and it's Jed Lowry batting now. Lowry at 222 has 3 homers. He's driven in 5. 209 is his career bases loaded batting average. Jed 0 for 8 in this series. Crowds him a little bit. Ball 1. Lowry is 4 for 12 with a homer and 4 runs batted in against Richards.
I'm not so sure that wasn't a strike callable pitch.
Lowry grounds one, foul.
There we go. Confirmation from the truck that that first pitch was in the strike zone. So now you got a pitcher who's coming back after a terrible injury a year ago. He's had a shaky defense behind him, shaky command a bit, maybe not getting help by the umpire at the plate. And if he gets out of this first inning without any damage, it's a big step forward.
Yes, it is. Astros on deck. Lowry takes it, and now he's at 2-1. 4 starts last year for Richards against the Astros. In the most recent one at Houston against Jared Kozart last June 4th, he pitched shutout ball for 8 innings.
See pitch number 1 in the strike zone. There's pitch number 3 in the strike zone. Both called balls. That is really tough on a pitcher.
Lowry now has a 3-1 count.
So if he walks Lowry, somebody's going to say, well, he's wild as a hare here in the first inning, but maybe not necessarily so.
Just off by a hair, probably, if at all. Sometimes that's all it takes. Lowry swings at 3-1 and fouls it.
The other danger is on the 3-1, especially after a couple of walks in the inning. You're almost compelled to throw a fastball. Lowry knows it and got a good swing.
Big 3-2 pitch coming with 1 out. Struck him out. 2 down for Jason Castro now.
Such is the nature of the stuff from Garrett Richards. Just blows the high heat on by. Jed Lowry's been a very good-looking hitter in the early goings and can't quite get to this one.
Jason Castro with a .269 average has 1 homer, 1 run batted in. 4 for 18 with the bases loaded. Carter on deck. That's called a strike. And Conger did the catching last night. Jason hit a homer in the 6th inning Friday night, his first of the year. Big road trip starts tomorrow night for the Astros in Seattle. Then moving down to Oakland and San Diego on the trip. Asher Wojciechowski and Hisashi Iwakuma tomorrow night. 8:30 pregame showtime. That's a strike, and it's 0-2. Not a cloud above today, but it's going to be warm in the 80s. Tuesday night, Colin McHugh opposes Taijuan Walker. Wednesday night, it's Roberto Hernandez and Jay Happ. Castro grounds to Pujols. And Richards is out of first inning trouble with no runs, 1 hit, 1 error, 3 men left, no score.
Sale. Enjoy some of the best seats at Minute Maid Park. Save money and receive great benefits throughout the season. Visit Astros.com/season tickets or call 1-877-9-ASTROS now to reserve your seats. A.J. Hinch shuffling the outfield around a little bit today. Jake Marisnick with a day off, scheduled day off for him. But Colby Rasmus moves over to center. He's been playing left so far this season and doing a really nice job impressing A.J. Hinch because that's not exactly where he's the most comfortable. Center field, where he is today, is where he's played most in his career. But like I said, impressed Hinch enough in the left field as far as throws and just the way that our left field here at Minute Maid Park is a little bit tricky. He likes how he's playing out there, but he's got 3 center fielders in the outfield when he's got Marisnick in there as well, and he likes that too, especially as we go on this road trip, guys. Big outfield: Seattle, San Diego, Oakland.
Excellent point. 0-0. David Freese leading it off in the 2nd inning. Those are 3 spacious ballparks. Strike 1 to Freese at 209. He has 3 homers, 7 runs batted in. A lot of ground to be covered by the outfielders in Seattle, Oakland, and San Diego, as she said. Lowry.
You know, in all honesty, there are some left fielders who are not the strongest of defensive players. And when you add Colby Rasmus as a left fielder to the outfield of Marisnick and Springer, you put up arguably as good of an outfielder as there is in the big leagues. I think the Pirates probably have some reason to claim they have a great one.
Eric Ibar, a 179 hitter, has 2 runs batted in. Fouls it back. There's strike 1 to the young shortstop. It's been around for a while, though. Well, Mike Scioscia now has no challenges remaining after losing that challenge in the bottom of the first inning.
None even in the last 3 innings.
Well, those wouldn't be hits, but those would be automatic. So it's a little deceptive. But he can't challenge another call for the rest of the game now. 1-1. It could be done by the umpires.
And the manager, who has no requests, or no challenges left, can request that the umpires make a challenge themselves or a review.
Sure, he can request that. 2 balls and strike. When you're going through a toll booth on the freeway, could you request that they waive the charge?
I do all the time.
Okay. Wanted foul. How does that go for you?
Better in Florida than in Texas.
Did you hear the story about 1 year in Florida? You may have been there.
This is going to be a Larry Dierker story, isn't it?
It's a Larry Dierker, Doug Rader story.
Doug Rader story, yes.
They were fishing and didn't have any change they could dig out in a hurry, so Doug threw a fish.
It did have extra fish, yes.
Not sure how that went.
Did that spit out any change?
No. You don't get fries with that either. Still 2-2.
I had a feeling. Guess you have to make your request as you drop it in there too. Deep fried, please.
You don't suppose it was a trout, do you? 3 balls, 2 strikes.
A low ball hitter if it was.
Boy, is he fun to watch. There is some star power in this sport right now. Guys like Trout and Springer. All the way.
Previous pitch was a curveball called a ball, and it kind of went unnoticed, I think. But look where that hits on the strike zone. Such a big over-the-top off-speed curveball that you kind of have to review in your mind, where is that at the front of the plate?
Sharply hit Altuve down on a knee. 2 outs. You know, some second basemen won't do that. They won't drop down on a knee.
Well, not in the early innings anyway. Keep that uniform pristine.
Nothing wrong with it. He has plenty of time. He wants to make sure he gets down as low as he can. Plenty of time to get up and make a throw on a ball hit right at him.
Make that routine play routine. Unless you prefer routing.
There's strike 1 to C.J. Cron. 125. 1 RBI.
When you were a kid, did you have a paper route or a paper route?
Didn't have either one of them, so I didn't have to worry about pronunciation.
The life of affluence.
Line drive and foul. What was your first job as a kid?
I guess it was paper route.
You got up at what time?
No, it was afternoon. We had the afternoon fish wrapper.
Oh, so you wouldn't get up at 3 in the morning?
Nope. No, I had no part of that lifestyle.
Bouncer, and Lowry lets it go. Altuve's got a long throw, and he messes up and skips it in. Well, it looked like it would be Lowry's ball, and it was a tougher play for Altuve, but he made the play. And that's a 1-2-3 all ground ball out inning in the second to keep the game scoreless. By Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Inside with the air conditioning going, finale of the homestand. We look at Altuve's play to end the top of the inning.
Really a tough play for Jose. I, like you, thought that Jed Lowry had a chance to cut in front and make that play much more easily, but you could see Jose in almost kind of panic mode there, trying to get rid of the ball quickly, and comes up with the out. That's a really good effort by Jose.
There's Carter bats and takes ball one upstairs for Garrett Richards.
Can't watch a play like that too many times, can you?
He got the ball out of his glove quickly. Low skipping throw. And some people will tell you that throw picks up speed when it bounces. That's not right, but it looks like it does on a replay like that.
There are no spinning ball bearings on the ground to advance that ball?
Ground ball into the shift here, and a long throw for Gio Vitella. Out at first. Oh, no, he dropped it, but he's going to call him out for tagging him. Then the ball dropped out of Pujols' glove. But Dana DeMuth has had two close calls to make, and he's catching it here from Astros first base coach Rich Dower. Now A.J. Hinch comes out. He may review this one.
Well, if you factor in the Jose Altuve play that we saw to end the previous half inning, there have been three already really tough calls at first base. Chris Carter, I guess you don't anticipate a high throw right there, but wow. Starts your day tough. Yeah, there's a tag, and he's hanging on to the ball. That's probably a good call.
Yeah. A.J. Hinch went out and talked with him. Yeah, he did get it.
He's got it, and now he goes to make the transfer and gets a little messed up there.
Looks like the call was correct. Colby Rasmus takes. There's ball one. It's his second start of the season in center field. Jake Marisnick has been playing very well at that position, getting the day off, as Julia mentioned. 1 ball, 1 strike. Colby at 217 has a homer, 2 runs batted, and 4 for 9 against Richards. Breaking pitch comes down and in for a 2 ball, 1 strike count. His fame is growing. A lot of Altuve jerseys around. And the movie is on again today at 4:30 after the postgame show. Quite a night last night. The Astros winning here 4-0. Nice sized crowd. Throwback game. And the Rockets then winning later over the Dallas Mavericks.
Hope Altuve brings in over $100 million on his first weekend.
Pujols. 2 down. That movie comes highly recommended. Bobby Grossman is the batter. Bobby back in the lineup after hitting that 3-run homer in the 7th inning last night in a 1-for-4 performance. That one made the difference between 1-0 and 4-0, and that was the final score. That was Robbie's first of the year. Richards delivers a strike.
Robbie Grossman muscling up the other way. Mike Scioscia called it a 307-foot fly ball. Scorebook calls it a 3-run home run and a big difference maker in last night's game.
It's 1-1. The standing joke with A.J. Hinch is if a player hits a homer, he's in the starting lineup the next day. He said, well, yes, in pencil, but often it does happen.
Sometimes that number 2 lead is tough to erase.
A.J., though, conscious of making sure all of his players have the proper amount of playing time to stay sharp. So we expect to see some Marwin Gonzalez in this Seattle series coming up. Out to left field. Ibar with the catch. Both pitchers have a 1-2-3 second. No score.
Honda dealer as we look at Scott Feldman's ground ball rate over the years, starting in 2011. Wow. That was a big year for ground balls for Scott. It has dipped off a bit, especially in 2012, but it is rebounding. And if Scott can continue that trend, get right back in that 60% rate in terms of ground balls, very good.
4 ground outs today, 2 strikeouts. In fact, Pujols' hit was a ground ball hit in the first inning, so he has some good downward action going as he faces Drew Butera here, leading off the 3rd. Drew is 1 for 3, as Ash mentioned, plays sparingly, not known as a hitter. But you saw his throw earlier to get Altuve in the first inning. Son of Sal Butera.
Yeah, Sal Butera, a catcher some years ago, and he taught his son well. Defensively, this kid's got it.
Sal has been a major league manager and is currently the special assistant to the general manager of the Toronto Blue Jays, Alex Anthopoulos. 2 balls, no strikes. Did you see the Blue Jays did not strike out in last night's game against Atlanta? Not once.
Did that win them a ball game?
Yes, they had a walk-off homer. Extra innings by Mr. Josh Donaldson.
So the impact of not striking out through the night was crucial in winning that game.
Well, maybe not, but it's of note anyway.
Yeah, that is good.
In today's game.
Doesn't happen often, I don't imagine.
I don't think so. It's a good trivia question. Wonder what the percentage of games would be without a team striking out. It'd have to be under 5%, don't you think?
Huh. I would say well under 5%.
Lou Boudreau says it would be 0.92%.
Oh.
No, just kidding. 3-1. Line shot left field, a hit. Bobby Grossman over to field it. Butera is on the leadoff single. Hit number 2 for the Angels. Who is not hot? Well, the guys who are. Taijuan Walker's not, and he's pitching against the Astros.
That whole Seattle club you could probably find in that, other than Nelson Cruz in that not column. But Bartolo Colon, how many of us thought Bartolo Colon was going to be 3-0 with a 2 1/4 at this stage of things? Paulo Orlando.
Yeah,
I didn't see that coming.
Don't know him. Gianni Giovatella bats for the first time. Strike 1 to Johnny G.
That Toronto Blue Jay on that list, Devin or Devon?
I'm not sure. I think it's Devin Travis. Giovatella at .313 has 3 runs batted in and 361 on base average. Trying to lay claim to this second base opening to the Howie Kendrick trade, took him to the Dodgers. Numbers like that might keep him there. Runner going. Here's the throw to Altuve. It's there about 8 seconds ahead of time. And there's a caught stealing.
That's your classic hit and run with a tough pitch to handle, maybe impossible, and a beautiful effort by Jason Castro. Can't do it better as a catcher. Good for Jason as he continues his advancement to combining both defensive and offensive sides of the game. Good effort by Giovatella to make contact, but just can't get it done there. And great work.
Second time Castro has thrown out a base runner. He's 2 for 5. Giovatella takes 1 and 2. Well, he's reached base, Giovatella, in 9 of 11 games. So he stays in there as the second sacker. Josh Rutledge, formerly with the Rockies, was thought to have been the front runner going to spring training to take over for Kendrick at second base, but he did not make the club. Taylor Featherston, a Rule 5 draft choice, has 1 start at second base for the Angels. It's 3 and 2. The Astros are 5-0 in starts by Dallas Keuchel and Colin McHugh. 0 and 6 in other games. Keuchel's ERA is the 5th best in the American League, 0.90 for Dallas. Up the middle, he couldn't kick it. Here's Altuve, no throw. Giovatella's on with an infield hit. That makes the caught stealing look very good.
or with a man aboard, do you possibly get a force at second base? That's one of those intriguing plays that sometimes we discuss late in the ball game, where if you can keep the man at first, you still might have a play at second.
True. Cole Calhoun struck out, leading off the game. These two teams are meeting 19 times this year. Calhoun loops a line drive into shallow right field. Springer comes up with it. Gio Vitello to second. 3 straight hits to open the inning. Now Mike Trout will follow.
It's not crushed. Curveball that stays up. Guy's a good player. Cole Calhoun. One of the overlooked, I don't know if you call him a star, but very effective players for the Angels.
He is. Trout hit a ground ball back to Feldman. Phil Boudreau pointing out that Don Wilson pitched a 2-hitter against Atlanta in 1974 and did not strike out anybody, but he walked 3.
So we're going back to 1974 to come up with one of these games, huh?
Well, yes. Yes, we are. Line shot center field. Rasmus with the grab. That ball is crushed. 2 outs.
Oh, it's a cold, cruel game sometimes.
Boy.
I don't know that Mike Trout needs numbers padded. That pitch is up around the near the waist, maybe, and kind of in a zone that people would say you want to pitch Mike Trout. If he makes an adjustment and starts handling pitches up as well as the pitch low, look out.
Albert Pujols hit the ground ball single to right field in the first inning. The Astros are not overshifted on him this time up with 2 outs, 2 men on. That's ball 1. And of course, an accomplished RBI man like Pujols, one of the best in the game, is well aware of the fact that a nice single to right field with 2 outs will get a run home. He's done that many times. 2 balls, no strikes.
I think the Astros have to obviously be aware that Pujols has shown his inclination to utilize that right side if you're going to give it to him.
522 homers. Jimmy Fox is up next in 17th place, 534. And for a strike, and it's 2-1. Feldman at 6'7" can create some nice angles from that release point. Pujols drove in 105 last year. This one bounces past the mound. Here's Altuve throwing to first and getting out of 3rd inning trouble with no runs, 3 hits, and 2 men left. No score.
Park. Astros group tickets will create an experience your group is sure to remember. Call 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit astros.com/groups to enjoy special pricing and great benefits by reserving your group today.
We had some large groups last night, you could tell, with that 50-year anniversary celebration of the Astrodome. Great to have all the players who came back. Ron Brand and Danny Coombs, Bob Aspermonte, Larry Durker, Bob Bruce. That was a fun night. We were hearing that Joe Morgan just had knee surgery, so he was unable to make it back. Jose Altuve reached on an infield hit in the first. And the call was reviewed and upheld. Altuve looks at ball one. Enos Cabell, who was in the Astros front office, is a very good friend of Joe Morgan's, and he had talked to Joe. He told me that Joe has had 2 knee replacements in the last year.
Wow.
And then he had more surgery from some calcium that built up behind one of the knee replacements, so that's why he couldn't make it. 2 balls, no strikes.
All those stolen bases might be overrated.
Alan Rowan and Enos Cabell watching the game. Yeah, he put his legs through the grinder with all those steals, didn't he?
Came out of that grinder with what, 1 MVP or 2? I think 1.
Yeah.
And some rings. Well, maybe toting the rings around it is the problem.
Three balls and a strike. Three and 2 now to Altuve.
It's like a little darting action, like a little tiny cutter there on some of these fastballs. Richards he's been steady at 95, 96. Look at that little tiny cut. That's a good pitch.
Bounce foul.
A little bit like Jared Cozart, maybe not quite as prominent.
Altuve with a grounder on through to left field. He's 2 for 2 in this game and has led off 2 innings with singles.
I think I can hear the Jaws music pulsing in the background. He's back. He finds a lot of holes. He beats out balls in the infield. He hits line drives and an occasional bomb. And when it adds up, I've got my bet place that he's going to be well positioned in the batting race.
Joe Morgan won back-to-back MVPs in 75, 76.
Okay. I didn't want to sell him short.
Yeah, that. Balbuena out to left field. He's going to take a shot at the Landry's Crawford boxes, and he hits him. 2-run homer. Balbuena. 2-0 Astros. Robbie Grossman hit one in that general area last night. Now Balbuena, number 3 of the season, giving him 4 runs batted in.
I'll help out Mike Scioscia early, 308 feet and 2 runs on the board.
Altuve and Balbuena, a 1-2 punch.
Boy, you take them. You play in this ballpark, left-hand hitters, right-hand hitters. Not a bad place to launch your fly balls.
Balbuena is hitting second for the first time this season. George Springer has been in the number 2 spot on 9 occasions. Robbie Grossman twice. George taking ball 1. We'll see if this might be a repeat lineup coming up soon. 2-0. Managers really like that left-handed pull hitter in the number 2 spot quite often, because he can hook the ball to right field with a runner at first and make sure he gets to third.
You know, I'll ask you this question. With Altuve, the guy that led the American League in stolen bases last year, are you waiting for him trying to hit through that hole, or are you trying to allow him to run early?
Very good question. That's the third walk. So maybe you're not waiting.
Yeah. He gets a pitch that really not a bad pitcher's pitch, but one that a left-hand hitter like Valbuena, we talked about it during the spring and early on, that he's got some pop in the left field. This might be the ideal ballpark for Luis.
Seems to like it so far. The Astros like that kind of an advantage. Robbie Grossman and Valbuena can provide for a left-handed hitter to hit it to left field. Evan Gattis, the batter. Springer takes off, and the throw will not be made. Butera dropped the ball trying to get it out of his mitt. So Springer gets his third steal in as many tries this year.
No hesitation whatsoever from George. And though Drew Butera can really throw, Springer basically saying, my best against yours. Look at him get it going. How many bags might he be able to steal if he can start getting this on base thing going a bit?
That's a really interesting question. He had 5 and 7 tries in the big leagues last year. Gattis takes 1 and 1.
He's a guy that put up big stolen base numbers in the minor leagues.
Had 45 steals. In 2013 at Corpus. He can probably steal 20 pretty easily in the big leagues. 2 balls and a strike. Gattis rolls over on that one. 2 and 2. We talked about it last night. Evan said before the game that he likes DHing. He likes to be able to prepare for each at bat, and the extra time that the DH position affords him to sometimes look at video, sometimes not. It's quite a change, though, from catching, which he did quite a bit with Atlanta. And when the Astros traded for him this winter, there were all these questions about how much catching he would do. He didn't do any in spring training. So that tells you that that's not the plan, but although he could certainly be an emergency catcher.
Yeah, I was just even rummaging through my attic as to whether he would be that emergency guy. Maybe so, but his work ethic, his grind is pretty darn strong.
Richards gets a punch out. That's number 2 for him.
And it's maybe not the moment to talk about it, but I have a feeling with his work going on in the hitting and trying to hit the ball the other way, he's going to be a big factor offensively for the club.
Interesting to ponder what A.J. Hinch has done with this lineup today with Altuve being very good at reaching base. Valbuena had a good on-base average last year. And Lowry batting 5th now. He's capable of doing that as well. Jed struck out on a 3-2 count first time up. There's a strike. And so they're kind of sandwiched in between these power hitters in the lineup. That might be something that plays very well. And of course, it all comes down to how the players perform in these situations. 0-2. But certainly worth a try. One-two to Lowry. And Richards' rehab appearance. He was pitching for AAA Salt Lake on Tuesday at Fresno, and he got the loss. Pitched 5 innings, gave up 7 hits, 5 earned runs, walking 4, fanning 5 against the Astros AAA affiliate. Bounces that breaking pitch. That makes it 2-2. During a start for Richards last June 4th here at Minute Maid Park, he struck out the side in the 2nd inning on 9 pitches. Only one other Angel pitcher had done that in the history of their club. Your guess is Nolan Ryan?
Well, I guess Nolan Ryan would be at the top of the heap. How about Dean Chance?
Well, Nolan Ryan is the answer.
Okay. I just need to stay away from the how abouts.
Dean Chance would be a good guess, though. Bo Belinsky?
I don't know.
No.
I don't know if
Chuck Finley?
Finley had a perfect game, didn't he? With the Yankees? No hitter?
Not sure.
Maybe I'm just going awry there.
We'll check. Pujols fields the 2-hopper. Lowry's retired 3 unassisted. Springer to third base, 2 outs. Gary Pettis, the new third base coach, talks it over with George. And Jason Castro will be the batter. He grounded out. The Astros loaded the bases in the first inning, but then Richards got Lowry on strikes and Castro on the grounder to end that threat. Braves are in front of the Blue Jays in Toronto 5-2. They're in the bottom of the 7th inning. Tigers are pounding the White Sox 9-1 in the 7th. Detroit 9-2. Foul for strike 1. The Mets with the Dark Knight pitching in front of the Marlins 7-4 in the middle of the 7th inning. The Mets are 9-3. Matt Harvey on the mound today. The Mets are 6-0 at home. That should perk up home attendance. Fouled away, and it's 0-2.
Is the city of New York now firmly planted behind the Mets?
They seem to be catching on. There's a certain buzz around their games.
Matt Harvey he just seems to be kind of the big man in town now.
He does. People wearing Batman costumes. Fly ball left field. And Joyce is there. Valbuena hit one Joyce could not reach. After the Altuve single, he goes oppo. Bobby Grossman last night, Valbuena today, 2-0 Houston.
The Dodgers in a 12 strikeout performance, his 13th straight win over LA. The only hit allowed is an infield single by Reggie Smith that came in the 4th inning. Wow. He was some kind of special. That's the All-Star game as he works it to Johnny Bench, his catcher. And JR was, I think they had him like at 102 and 104 maybe. Even gets Reggie Jackson on a slider.
Wow, and your hand got a night off.
Yeah. He was some kind of something.
Matt Joyce takes strike one. 2-0 Astros. This just in. Chuck Finley did not pitch a no-hitter.
Nope. But he was in constant touch with Whitesnake.
No balls, 2 strikes. Yankees 5, Rays 3, top of the 6th inning in St. Petersburg. Isn't it odd the way that's played out for the Yankees with A-Rod, their most dependable hitter?
Who would have guessed that one?
Not too many. Hey, President George W. Bush is here. H.W. Bush, 41, and first time President Bush has been here this season. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
How many former presidents have been involved in selfies?
Couldn't answer that. Do you keep stats on that?
Well, I think we should in this day and age.
Well, he's been such a terrific baseball fan here down through the years. We were talking last night about President Lyndon Johnson at the opening of the Astrodome. Special moment. There was a presidential suite in the Astrodome. Well, every president has thrown out a first pitch for many years, right?
Yeah, I guess so. I imagine there are some worn out arms.
William Howard Taft was the first president to do that. I think everyone since him.
Did he play in the minors?
No. Rasmus out in center. 1 down. David Freese will be next. Nationals 3, Phillies nothing, top of the 7th inning. Nationals have a problem at shortstop.
Ooh.
Ian Desmond. He is an error machine. He has 8 errors in their first 12 games.
They had previously had a problem at third. They fixed that one. But where do they go with this now?
Freese for strike 1. Only one other big league shortstop since the end of World War II has been charged with 8 errors over a team's first 12 games of a season. Andre Rogers with the Giants, 1959. And he had kind of an excuse. He grew up playing cricket. 0-2.
That could have been problematic.
Yeah.
I bet the hitting side of the game was different too.
Yeah. Desmond has been known as a very good major league shortstop, though.
What do you mean we don't run on foul balls?
Upstairs from Feldman, it's 1 ball, 2 strikes. Pirates lead the Brewers 3-2. They're in the bottom of the 6th inning. Brewers are 2-9 to open the season. The Angels are 5-6, as are the Astros. Into left field. Freese is aboard. 5 hits for the Halos, all singles.
This guy could make a difference in this lineup. And it looks like he's maybe off to a bit of a better start. Former big hero for the Cardinals in the World Series.
You bet. Eric Ibar grounded out in the 2nd inning. 62 pitches for Feldman so far. 40 have been strikes. It was a breaking pitch for a strike. Josh Fields is working his way back on an injury rehab assignment. He's made 4 appearances for AAA Fresno. Most recently Friday he pitched an inning of relief. Eligible now to return from the DL. The plan is for him to pitch tomorrow, multiple innings tomorrow for Fresno. He might be ready to come back after that. The reports are good on his stuff. 1-1. Then that'll be a difficult decision unless something changes for the Astros to make to get Fields back in their bullpen, because they really don't want to have anybody leave who's been here. Nobody's a candidate. In the dirt. 2-1.
Jason Castro's getting a workout. Scott Feldman's in one of those little grooves where he's yanking pitches to his glove side. That means Castro has to keep moving hard to his right, and watch him go after this, trying to set up away, and there's that pitch yanked, and Jason's getting it done.
Yeah, got him on the bottom of the leg.
He is going to be abused by the end of the game.
Yes. Came up, clipped him. If it hadn't, Freese would be at second right now. Fouled away. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Will Harris has made 20 consecutive scoreless appearances as one of the newcomers to the bullpen. He certainly is not a candidate to go anywhere. So the Astros will have a difficult decision unless something changes when Josh Fields is ready to return. Him out looking. Ibar is out number 2 and strikeout number 3.
Well spotted little backdoor cutter. Went on. That's a big pitch for Scott Feldman. Nicely framed, if you will.
C.J. Cron grounded out earlier. Astros minor league teams combined have quite a record. .718 winning percentage, 28 and 11 out of the gate. Ball 1 to Cron. AAA Fresno 7-3, AA Corpus Christi 7-2, High A Lancaster 6-4, Low A Quad Cities 8-2. That's the best combined winning percentage among all major league organizations.
Guys are performing, aren't they?
They really are. There's some great numbers. Foul, and it's 1-1. We're checking some of those numbers before the game today. Pretty impressive. Carlos Correa, 351, 1 homer, 12 runs batted in, 8 doubles, an OPS of 191. 1,091 is the way to say it. Upstairs, 2-1.
Yeah, I always wonder if you had that guy that's performing that way in the minor leagues. Is there a chance he could perform that way for you on the big league level? Are you missing out on some good times? We'll never know. It's a fun thing to discuss.
Well, the thing that really hurt Carlos was missing that second half of the season last year with a broken leg.
No question.
He looked good this spring. Mark Appel through 2 starts, 2-0 with a 0.90 ERA for 10 innings. J.D. Davis, Lancaster, 389. 1 homer, 9 runs batted in. Two, and Preston Tucker is on a 20-game hit streak carrying over from last year with good power numbers. Brett Phillips had quite a game last night, 325 for Lancaster. He was the positional player of the year in the minor leagues last year. Derek Fisher, 316, 3 homers for Quad Cities. Cron looks at it. Now 3-2 to him. Matt Duffy at Fresno, 333, 1 homer, 11 runs batted in, an 806 OPS. John Singleton, 270, 2 homers, 8 driven in. Runner going, fly ball, headed for the left field line, and And that one reaches the boxes. 2-run homer as the Angels answered with Cron hitting number 1 to tie the game 2-2. The visitors find that area of the ballpark. Cron hit 11 last year and 242 at bats for them.
Turnabout's fair play, off-speed breaking ball, and getting out and able to hook one is Cron. And the hook is in play.
Drew Butera looks at ball 1. Butera singled to left earlier.
Look at it, Scotty. Come on, Scotty.
Cron now has driven in 3. It's 2-0. Angels have tied it with that long ball. Their 11th of the season. Trout hit a couple Friday night, then they were shut out last night.
Hey, boy.
Strike, and that makes it a 2-ball, 1-strike count. So they had not scored in 13 innings. And center fielder Rasmus is over in left center to end the top of the 4th with 2 outs. Cron hit one to left to tie it 2-2.
Parade, Vendors Expo, and much more. Get Dog Day tickets today by visiting Astros.com/dogday. Guys, I could watch that video forever.
Cute dogs.
So happy.
Yeah. Do you have a dog, Julia?
No.
Okay. Well, we can enjoy watching those little pooches.
They are so great.
Doesn't Ash have a dog?
Oh,
He does have a dog, yeah.
Yeah. We don't refer to him as our dog. He's our child.
He's your child.
Well, you were talking about getting your child down for the parade last year, correct?
Yeah, but all the other children weren't inoculated, so we were being cautious. No.
Chris Carter with a grounder. The shift is on. That puts Gio Vitella right there. And he takes care of out number 1 for Garrett Richards. Well, in the Cubs game, there was a comebacker to John Lester, and it got stuck in his glove. And he threw his mitt to first base for the out.
I wonder if he pushed that ball into a spot where it was stuck in the glove so he wouldn't have to toss it to first.
Maybe. Colby Rasmus grounded out to first. Phil Boudreau has researched no strikeout games. He has the all-timer, Ash.
I want to hear it.
Game 7, 1960 World Series, Yankees and Pirates, 10-9. Pittsburgh wins it on a Mazeroski 9th inning homer. No strikeouts in the ball game for either team. Pujols tossing to Richards.
And everybody talks about that measly home run to win the game when they had a really big story like the no strikeouts.
Yeah, that was it.
Wow.
Well, only 3 pitches here. Robbie Grossman is taking a moment or two to walk into the box because this is just too easy for Garrett Richards. And he wants to give Scott Feldman a little more time. May take a pitch here. Robbie popped a shortstop in the 2nd inning. And Scott had to throw a number of pitches in the top of the frame. But no, he goes for the first pitch, puts it in the air, and it's the shortstop Ibar. So it's a 4-pitch 4th inning for Richards, and the game stays tied at 2.
Breaking ball to start things, made it 0-1, and then started to scuffle a bit with locations, fell behind in the count 2-1. Jason Castro doing a nice job, but then with the high fastball gets back in the count, and then that backdoor cutter. Yes, there were 2 or 3 seats. I'm not sure what the official count was on the outside edge there for Scott, and that was a strike. Well done for Scott Feldman. Again, that little backdoor cutter can be big for him.
2-2 game after the 2-run homer by Cron in the top of the 4th, tying the game. Balbuena had hit a 2-run homer for the Astros in the 3rd. We move to inning number 5, and it's Giovitella leading it off. Johnny with a single. Jose Altuve tried to throw him out in the 3rd inning. And that one bounces, ball 1. So Feldman, after a 4-pitch 4th inning by Richards, right back out on the mound quickly. That's in for a strike, and that evens the count at 1-1. Shane Green of Detroit went the first 22 2/3 innings of the season without giving up an earned run. But in the 6th inning against the White Sox today, they broke through against him. Up the right field line, that is foul. 1-2. Long flight to Seattle.
Thanks for the reminder.
It won't be long for Asher, though, will it?
I think he'll be ready.
Bueno. Over to Carter. 1 out. Should be really good atmosphere for baseball this year in Seattle after the Mariners had a good season last year, and then they added Nelson Cruz. They have good young talent like Taijuan Walker and others.
Speaking of long rides, how was your ride back home last night?
It was long because I-10 was closed.
It's all about timing.
It was a bad accident, but Rockets were on the radio, so that was fun. And you were home watching the Rockets by then, right?
It's all about Bill Warrella for me.
Calhoun is 1 for 2. Well, that place was certainly alive last night. Toyota Center just down the street. Their next game will be Tuesday night against the Mark Cubans
of Dallas.
2 balls and no strikes. The bench was a major factor for the Rockets in that game. Dwight Howard was in some foul trouble and isn't able to play as many minutes. Fly ball left field. Grossman. After missing so many games, Dwight is being used sparingly, and Mr. Harden is being closely watched. 2 outs.
This week in the NBA will follow in just a few moments.
Well, we need to focus on Mike Trout here because he is potentially a game changer every time he comes up in a tie game. He's grounded back to Feldman and lined to center field. A ball that took all of 2.1 seconds to reach Colby Rasmus's glove back in the 3rd inning.
It was a laser.
Colby probably felt as if he was playing an infield spot when Trout hit that ball to him. There's strike 1.
Yeah, if you ever become a major league hitter, don't ever buy into hit it hard and you'll have great success. Well, you will ultimately if you're willing to buy into 70% of the time you're going to make an out.
Who was the best hitter you can remember who didn't hit the ball hard consistently but had high batting average?
You know, I have a knee-jerk reaction, and it's not fair because this guy was one of the great hitters of all time. Rod Carew came to mind because he had this innate gift of taking really tough pitches and flipping it over the third baseman, dropping down a perfect bunt. He could bounce one and you couldn't throw him out. A little bit like a Jose Altuve. But he was a great hitter. You couldn't fool him. Yeah, but that's what came to mind because of that wand that he had.
Check swing call goes Trout's way. Dana DeMuth with the call that he did not swing. It's 2-2 now.
So I want it duly noted that I said Rod Carew was absolutely a great hitter, but you couldn't get him out. You could make some of the best pitches and couldn't get him. Nice work again by Jason Castro.
Trout pointed down to first himself on that one.
Tony Gwynn could be a bit that way.
Yeah, I was just going to say Tony Gwynn. Foul back. And maybe Wade Boggs to a degree, but you know, we're talking about guys who had such tremendous volumes of hits. Sure, they're going to get some of those little pop fly hits every now and then.
You know, Pete Rose didn't get that many infield hits.
True.
He'd find the legit holes. Didn't always hit a line drive, but another great one.
And he had enough pop to keep the outfielders deep, so he could drop it in front of them sometimes. A lot of doubles.
Though he didn't have the pure blinding speed, he would hustle his way through as good or better than anybody else.
How about Ichiro? 3-2.
Without question. Here's my assessment of Ichiro. He keeps the front hip closed, and therefore the shoulder stays with it. He can lunge way out in front as you throw him even an eephus pitch, and he'll eventually flip the hands at it, hit some little roller that you can't throw him out on, and then he'll rake you a time or two later in the game. But because you can't get him out because you fooled him, man, look through his numbers. What was the 1 year, 262 hits or some such number?
Yes.
I mean, look at Altuve's year last year, 225 in the hits column, and it seemed incredible. And then throw those other hits that Ichiro was able to put up.
In the air and over to right center field. Rasmus and Springer. It's a 1-2-3 fifth for Scott Feldman. He keeps it tied at 2.
documentary featuring the Astros All-Star second baseman and narrated by Houston-born actor Dennis Quaid airs today right after the Astros postgame. Join us for the amazing story of this one-of-a-kind big leaguer.
Can't wait to see it. Roughly 4:30 today, we had a proposal in the stands. It went favorably for that couple. Happy moment. She said yes. She's wearing an Altuve shirt. Can't go wrong choosing Altuve. There's strike one. He's 2 for 2 in this game.
Houston Methodist helps us get to know Jose Altuve. Why not? But not immediately.
Out to center field. Mike Trout pursuing. 1 out.
So back to Jose Altuve and the get to know portion of the program. Favorite player growing up, Omar Vizquel. Great infielder, maybe certainly one of the greatest of all time. Hidden talent, ping pong. Favorite karaoke song, Too Many to Tell. Is that the name of a song, or is that to say that he sings anything in sight?
That's actually the name of a song. We just haven't heard it yet.
Okay. We need to get some of that on the plane.
Luis Valbuena. Does Brian McTaggart sing that one?
No, but if it's country, Tags will sing it up right.
Valbuena has a walk and a 2-run homer. Christy Feliz might sing that one.
Really?
1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, the next time she comes on with you, let's do some entertainment.
All right, Christy, do you know Too Many to Tell? In for a strike at 84 from Richards. 75 pitches for the game, and it's 1-2 with Springer on deck. The appeal went to third. He checked his swing. 2-2.
That barrel might have gotten out there a bit. Might have.
Paul Nauert with the call. Have you seen Paul Blart Mall Cop 2 yet?
No, I've got restrictions on me. Self-imposed.
Skipped rope on that one in the dirt. 3-2. You got the movie restraining order on you?
Yeah, again, self-imposed.
Okay.
I consider every day at the yard with you to be a movie.
Well, it is a movie. You'll get a chance to see about 4 movies on that flight coming up.
Thank you.
Gio Vitella on Pujols. Julia Morales.
Thanks, Brownie. I have our T-Mobile game changer, and it is the power-packed energy of George Springer. He led off the 6th last night by getting his first home run of the season. You see it here to break up the scoreless game. Springer said he was trying to get on base because at that point they were just trying to scratch across some runs. AJ, though, said that George woke up the crowd. He woke up the bench, really ignited everybody after what was a great pitching performance.
First home run for him since July 19th. There's strike one. He reached on an error and he walked. Stole a base in the 3rd inning as well. There's strike one to Springer. The Mets' Jerry Blevins, a relief pitcher, was hit with a line drive in a relief appearance, and he has a fractured left forearm. He had not allowed a hit, walk, or run in 5 innings. Fouled away. Still 0-2.
What's the most dangerous position in baseball to play?
Catcher.
Yeah, I would say in terms of the potentially really serious injury, right there on the mound might be the spot.
Well, true.
And the line drives that come back.
So little reaction.
Oh.
But catchers get hit with foul balls.
Yeah.
Ibar will not have a play. Springer has a 2-out, 2-strike single. That's what the Astros have to love. He reaches base on an 0-2 pitch, makes contact with his legs. He can make a lot of things happen.
You just hit all the points right there. If George Springer with his wheels can make some contact, stay away from the strikeout, put the ball in play. He's got some hits, much like Jose Altuve, to be had, and then in the process you get the feel and you start to be able to do it right, and he's going to hit some big-time home runs, but it's all still in that if category.
Evan Gattis has a walk and a strikeout. Springer stole a base last time. Richards looking over after stepping off. Two 6-1 for the Angels, 2-4-0 for the Astros. The Angels have stranded 3. The Astros have left 4. Rubber game of the series. Springer back. Braves beat the Blue Jays 5-2 in Toronto. Atlanta now 8-4 in a surprise to some. Shelby Miller, the winner. He goes to 2-0. Jason Grilli has 6 saves already.
Baseball needs to break up the Braves.
Chris Johnson's hitting .320. Nick Markakis .375. Now Gattis has worked the count to 2-0. Jed Lowry hopes to get a chance to hit here in this inning. Snap throw to first. Springer diving back. Pitch was ball 3. It's 3-0 now. Next home game will be April 30th against Seattle. A Thursday night. Gattis takes a 4-pitch walk and Lowry bats. That's 4 of those for Richards. He was 1 strike away from ending the inning. Springer reaching on the 0-2 pitch, an infield hit. Now Gattis walking on 4 straight, and Lowry is 0 for 2 will bat. 86 pitches in the game for Richards. How much more does he have in the tank? 4-pitch walk might be an indication that he's tiring. Sometimes when a pitcher leaves the pitches up, that's a sign that his legs are tiring.
There's another sign that nobody's throwing in the pen for the Angels, and that says Richards is going to get through this inning, or at least attempt to do so. How much further he goes yet to be determined.
Lowry worked the count full. He struck out in the first inning with the bases loaded. Grounded out in the third. There was a runner in scoring position at second base on that one. So now for the 3rd time he comes up with a man in scoring position in this game. It's strike 1. The next homestand starting Thursday, April 30th. Seattle comes in for a 4-game set, followed by Texas for 3. And the homestand after that, the Giants are here for 2 games, the defending world champions. Followed by Toronto and Oakland. Shot foul. 0-2. Interleague play for the Astros involves playing the NL West this year.
I don't think the Giants officially defend their title until next year, do they?
Well, they might like a do-over. The way this year has started, certainly. Been pretty rough for them. Yeah, they're an every other year team, as you were pointing out last night. They're 4-9. Finally snapped their 8-game losing streak last night. This one gets by the catcher, and Lowry will scamper to first, and it hits him and gets away, and the run scores. On the strikeout, the Astros take the lead. The throw to first hit Lowry and got away. Gaddis went all the way to third with Springer scoring. It'll be a strikeout, a wild pitch, and an error on Butera.
Really wasn't a bad throw, I didn't think, but it sure does get to be a problem for a first baseman with the runner bearing down. That throw was on the inside, so that Butera is the one that is culpable there. In the glove and then out for Albert Pujols. And then the speed and hustle of George Springer putting the run on the board. Oh, that's a nice one to get.
And that's the point about Springer's legs. You see that difficult throw for Pujols with Lowry arriving. He almost got hit in the face by that throw. The error for Butera, his first of the year. The Astros lead it 3-2. The run is unearned. Jason Castro, the batter. He's 0 for 2. That one goes foul. Any more runs that might score in this inning also will be unearned because of the 2-out error. Alvarez is warming up for the Angels now, who had hoped to get through the inning with Richards and Pistano. Bouncer goes foul. No balls, 2 strikes. Things have gotten kind of wild here. From 2 outs, nobody on, and an 0-2 count on Springer. Infield hit, walk, strikeout / wild pitch / E2. Ground ball and a difficult play here. Free sliding. No play and a run scores. Castro on an 0-2 count put the ball in play, and something good happened to make it 4-2. A good inning for 0-2 counts on Astros hitters. RBI number 2 for Jason.
Yeah, the guys are having some fun. And as you pointed out early on, this is a big day when you just start looking at overall numbers. Can the Astros win, make it a 500 homestand, get back to 500 on the season? Have a lot going on before a long road trip. Hit some line drives for outs, and then have somebody get deep in your kitchen, get yourself a knock.
2-run lead for the Astros. Chris Carter's batting. He's grounded out twice. There's strike 1. So the question will be asked after this game of Mike Scioscia: did you stay with Richards too long? He's at 93 pitches. 0-2. He'll probably say, no, we didn't. If we make the play on the strikeout, the inning's over. Yep. It's tied.
You know, I would tend to agree with that assessment.
After he walked Gaddis on 4 pitches, then he quickly got ahead of Lowry 0-2 and had him struck out, but they didn't execute. One and 2. He's certainly getting ahead of these hitters. Lowry, Castro, Carter, and earlier Springer in this inning. In the dirt. 2-2. Oh, a strikeout is the biggest part of this rally. How crazy is that? From a team that has struck out 106 times in its first 11 games. Rock foul. The Astros have struck out more than any other American League club to this point of the season. And something good happened on a punch out. Richards has an ERA of 0.60 at Minute Maid Park before today. Foul backed. Valbuena 2-run homer in the third.
It's good to see Milo Hamilton out at the ballpark, especially every Sunday. And Milo had a tendency of saying it was a rather unpredictable game.
Oh boy, didn't he? Altuve has hit the only ball in this inning that's left the infield. It is unpredictable. Rock to left field. It's hooking. Foul. Runner smacked that one.
Breaking ball that stays in on Carter. And Carter, who's getting ready to head to Seattle, where he usually gets that bat going. A good swing on this pitch. Quick on the inside.
Nine pitches now for Garrett Richards. He got him on strikes. And in the fifth inning, the Astros grab the lead. 2 runs on 2 hits, 1 costly error, a couple of men left. It's 4-2 Houston.
Whether you're treating your employees, hosting clients, or celebrating a special occasion, we'll create an experience that your group is sure to remember. Call the Astros Premium Ticket Line at 1-877-9-ASTROS and reserve your luxury suite today.
Apollo got the win, Ash.
I don't know. That guy looks to me like he's running faster than the elements on the moon should enable.
They enjoy the game from a suite. 4-2. Of the 2 runs, 1 was earned, and we'll clarify the official scorer's decision on that with the 6th inning beginning. Albert Pujols is 1 for 2. Phil Boudreau checked with the score, and what I said was not correct in terms of what he ruled as ball 1. So of the 2 runs, 1 was earned, 1 was unearned in the 5th inning. Out to left center field, Robbie Grossman making the catch. Colby Rasmus ducking out of the way. 1 out. And Phil said what he did was ask about the play on Lowry with the strikeout. He ruled that Lowry reached first base on a wild pitch.
I like right here seeing the center fielder, who's not always the guy that should take that ball, as he kind of bails on the play and lets the left fielder, Robbie Grossman, who had called earlier, take the play.
Matt Joyce is the batter. He's 0 for 2. So Lowry did not reach on the wild pitch, but then moved up on the error by Butera.
Did not reach on the wild pitch. Instead, he reached on an E2.
Well, no, he did reach on the wild pitch.
Okay.
That's what he ruled. I thought that an accurate throw should have gotten him out. Therefore, that error should have been the final out of the inning, and no run should have scored had Pujols caught the throw from the catcher, Butera. But that's not the way the official scorer ruled it. Tough job scoring. I mean, that was a really close play at first base. 1-2.
I would imagine Garrett Richards is thinking, one of those runs is earned. How'd that happen?
Exactly. He has to be thinking that. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Feldman nearing 100 pitches now. Altuve flags it down, shifted over. He takes care of out number 2. Got to be frustrating for Joyce to hit the ball there and be a ground out victim.
Sometimes a diamond, and that one is certainly in that category. Great play by Jose.
David Freese singled and rode home on the 2-run homer by C.J. Cron in the 4th inning. Freese 1 for 2. Nobody working in Houston's bullpen now. Ball 1 for Feldman. Rasmus is shading to right center. That's a swing for Freese. 1-1. Alvarez in the bullpen for the Angels. Out to right center field. Springer. 1-2-3, 6th inning, and the Astros lead it 4-2. Now at Southwest.com. And by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit us at Geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. Texas Legends Grill with Nolan Ryan beef. Among the many choices you have at Minute Maid Park. And the next home game will be April 30th against Seattle. 4-2, the Astros lead it. Garrett Richards out of the game after 5, giving way to lefty reliever Jose Alvarez.
Alvarez has pitched with the Tigers and then came over to the Angels last year. Tigers in 2013. He's made 21 major league appearances. With his first pitch will be 22. 6 starts along the way.
Strike on Colby Rasmus.
And yielded a .281 batting average in the bigs.
Scott Feldman goes for a little water, Gatorade, something like that. Powerade. Strike 1 to Rasmus. Rasmus 0 for 2. Feldman had a 1-2-3 fifth. Another 1-2-3 6th. The Astros have had Will Harris warming up. Now they have lefty Tony Sipp throwing. Harris has sat down. 2 balls and a strike. Sometimes they'll tell a relief pitcher, well, why don't you throw a few pitches tonight or today, even though the plan is not to get you in the game, so you stay in a good rhythm for your next outing. Line shot goes foul.
As it goes by your slot when you're in the bullpen, if you're that long guy, for example, and you get past the 5th, 6th inning, you may be on that day where you needed to throw. It's just not going to happen in a game, and so you get some tosses in.
So, Ash, would they say, well, you know, we could come back to you if it goes extra innings, so
certainly
don't throw too much.
Exactly. Just get enough that it does in the event we don't get back to you.
Strikeout, 1 out. Well, a strikeout looms large in this game. The one on Jed Lowry. The game tied 2-2. The ball was in the dirt. Drew Butera went over and got it. Threw to Albert Pujols. McCall was safe at first as the throw got away. And the Astros wound up scoring 2 runs. One on that strikeout and another on the Castro infield hit. Just strike 1 to Robbie Grossman. Robbie got a pinch hit off Alvarez in the Friday night game in the bottom of the 7th inning. One ball, 1 strike. The Astros got back-to-back pinch hits in that game, and Alvarez just faced the one man. Grossman reaching. Alvarez coming in with a 3-2 lead in the 7th inning. Grossman later came around to score, so that run was charged to him. 1-2. Robbie is 1 for 9 as a right-handed batter. Garrett Richards in 5 innings allowed 4 hits, 4 runs, or 5 hits, 4 runs, 3 earned. Milwaukee 4, Fanning 4. Two balls, 2 strikes. Thought he threw the ball pretty well today, Ash.
Yeah, I don't think there was any doubt about that. Angels have to be very pleased at Richards coming back and looking that strong. I didn't see much, if any, in the way of loss of velocity. There were times when he probably didn't have his A-game command.
Grossman's down on strikes. That's 2 punch outs in a row here, and 6 for the game for the Angels staff. Jose Altuve has 2 of the Astros' 5 hits. He has scored a run today. 2 for 3. .313 batting average currently for Jose. He looks at ball 1. Let's see if this is the first time he's been over 300 this year. Probably. High bar. Takes care of Altuve. We go to the 7th inning. And it's 4-2 Houston.
HD on over 400 mobile and connected devices. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking, and more. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. That sounded really official with the disclaimer there.
Oh, yeah. Tony Sipp comes in with a 4-2 lead for the Astros. Nice work for Scott Feldman today to get up to this point. And now Sipp will try to sail through the 7th inning with Ibar, Cron, and Butera scheduled to bat.
Tony Sipp, now 31 years of age. What a great year he had for the Astros last year. Now in his 2nd in Houston and getting off to a solid start once again.
Ibar is 0 for 2. He's grounded out and struck out looking. Scott Feldman in 6 innings allowed 6 hits, 2 runs with no walks, 3 strikeouts. Threw 102 pitches, 63 for strikes. Corner infielders pinching in here on Ibar. That's whacked off the glove of a diving Lowry into left field. Grossman hustles over, and it's a single for Ibar. Sharp will hit ground ball single, and he's aboard for Cron now, who hit the 2-run homer in the 4th.
Yeah, hooked it just enough to get it by the diving Lowry. I don't think coming up with this there's any shot anyway.
Cron tied the game his first time up with a 2-run homer in the 4th after Valbuena had homered for 2 of the Astros runs in the 3rd. And now down again by 2. He has a chance to do that same thing. Altuve shading up the middle. Fouling it back. There's strike 1 on Cron with Butera on deck. Very good day for Scott Feldman. He retired the final 7 men he faced. That's his 2nd quality start in the 3 starts he's made this season. And in both of those he had no walks.
And it comes on the heel of that rough one against the Oakland A's. 5 innings of 10 hit balls, 8 runs, 7 of them earned. So it's a nice turnaround for Scott.
Very nice. Sipp worked in the 6-1 win over Oakland 4 days ago. And the bullpen appearances have been spread out fairly evenly so far for A.J. Hinch. Sandeduno's pitched 4 times. Will Harris has 4 outings. Luke Gregerson with 5. Sipp is making his 5th. Joe Thatcher has worked 4 times. Chad Qualls, the staff leader, with 6. It's all added up to a 1-1 bullpen record, a 2.03 ERA. That's among the best. That's second in the American League for bullpen ERA. Cron fouls it. So the numbers speak very well, and Brent Strom has to like this. 2.03, 40 innings.
One of the keys for Kansas City getting into postseason play last year was their excellent bullpen work over the course of the season. So I don't think there's any surprises, and probably a lot of positive feeling about being even ranked with Kansas City.
You see the Royals lost their closer now, Greg Holland. He's on the disabled list. And Wade Davis will take over as their closer until Holland returns. That could be a big blow to that club. Sip was a real revelation to the Astros fans last year. Toward the right field corner, it's foul. Tony's 31 years old, from Pascagoula, Mississippi. He had been in the big leagues with Cleveland for 4 seasons, then with Arizona for 1, and was not on a big league club when last season started. Was pitching at AAA El Paso, had made 11 appearances, had an out clause in his contract, and the Astros signed him as a free agent May 14th. He went on to make 56 appearances for them.
Hard to imagine based on what we saw last year.
Yeah, why he wasn't on a big league club.
Absolutely.
1 and 2.
Good boy.
He was a very important man. Now AJ has some interchangeable parts, so to speak, in terms of the ability to have confidence in sending different pitchers to the mound for the 7th, 8th, and 9th innings. Foul back. Tony Sip had 4 saves last season. Luke Gregerson has been primarily a setup man until this year, when he has been named the closer. Chad Qualls was the closer last year. Pat Neshek had 25 holds last season. He has 6 career saves. Let's see about Joe Thatcher. He's been primarily a setup man. Joe has 1 save in his career. The idea being they've all been there at crunch time, and all this without Josh Fields, who could be returning in a few days. 1 and 2. Will Harris has looked very good also.
I guess it's a good problem, but it's going to be a tough decision.
Yes, it is. Sam DeDuno picked up a save in Arlington. First for him. So these guys have been on the mound in some pressure situations. And Harris is back up now. Just looks like he's walking around, not throwing, but he was earlier. Tigers down the White Sox 9-1. They are 10-2 out of the gate in 2015. Shane Green goes to 3-0, beating Jose Quintana. He's 1-1. 2 homers for Yoenis Cespedes to give him 3. There's the runner breaking on a pitch in the dirt, and he'll make it. Ibar into second base on ball 2. Wild pitch.
Castro did his job, but in the process, a good enough jump at first base by Ibar to move on up. That's a little reminiscent of Brad Ausmus with that drop of 1 knee to the ground, and
sure is.
Put the chest protector in front.
All right, talk, Tony.
Now 2-2 with Cron batting. He chased one and struck out.
was quite the battle. Tony Sipp can certainly have the pace slow down when he's on the hill, but eventually gets the key out.
Now Butera has been called back for a pinch hitter. Tony Sipp will be facing Colin Cowgill, right-handed hitting outfielder. Butera was 1 for 2. Cowgill's hitting .200 for 25 at bats with 1 homer, 2 runs batted in. He does not have a pinch hit at bat yet this season. He was tossed out of last night's game. His shin guard was being removed, and he said he was trying to flip it out of the way, and it got velcroed to his pants, and it wound up being flipped toward the umpire, who tossed him out of the game. But that was not his intent. It was not to throw it toward the umpire. That's ball 1. Cowgill 0 for 4 in this series.
I think we need to have some sensitivity courses.
Either that or get rid of the Velcro. One ball and 1 strike. How about Brad Oswald? His club with the best record in the American League, 10-2, without any contribution from Justin Verlander, and Max Scherzer has left.
Pretty amazing. They got their pitching ERA really touched up a couple of days ago, but they're still among the leaders.
In the air, and here's Robbie Grossman, but Jed Lowry's underneath it. 2 down.
Well, you can hear Brent Strom, I believe, as the pitch was just getting to the hitter. It may have come off the bat just instantly, but I believe I heard Brent Strom hollering out, "Great pitch." And he is just intensely watching everything from his pitchers.
He is. Yeah, Cowgill off balance. He popped it up. Now Gio Vitella bats. Gio Vitella's 1 for 2. Yankees are leading the Rays 5-3. They're in the top of the 9th at St. Petersburg. Steven Souza hit his 3rd home run for the Rays. Michael Pineda started for New York. Yankees have been pretty spotty so far. They're currently in the cellar with a 5-6 record, but they're only 2 games behind front-running Boston. That division really tight. This one's even tighter, a game and a half from top to bottom in the AL West. And Seattle's in the basement at 4-7. Strike to Gio Vitella. Calhoun's on deck. 7 hits for the Halos, 5 for the Astros. Good pickup by Castro. It's a 1-ball 1-strike count. Checked his swing on the appeal to DeMuth. Orioles 8, Red Sox 3, bottom of the 8th at Fenway. Adam Jones hit his 5th home run. Ryan Flaherty number 2 for the Birds. Hanley Ramirez number 5 for the Sox. Rick Porcello 5 innings, 8 earned runs today. Hanley Ramirez has had his struggles in left field. Strike, and it's 1-2.
And Tony Sipp, herky jerky, that fastball right there at the knees. And I think if you went back 3-4 years ago, umpires were not calling that pitch a strike, and we're seeing it appropriately called a strike now.
2-2. Athletics 2, Royals 1, bottom of the 7th in Kansas City. Bad blood between those two clubs after the hard slide into second by Brett Lawrie Friday night. An injured knee for Alcides Escobar, who was at second base when Lawrie slid into him. One hopper to third. Valbuena over to Carter. No runs, a hit. A man stranded. God Bless America will be sung by the fans here. We'll stay here for that on a nice Sunday afternoon with the Astros up 4-2.
It's our Sunday afternoon tradition and has been for years here at Minute Maid Park when we pause during the game to honor our great nation and salute and thank those who defend our freedoms around the world each and every day. And some of those whom are which joining us on the field right now. As we pause to honor America, please welcome U.S. Army Sergeant Corinne Campbell as she leads us with the singing of God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans wide with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Valbuena going oppo and hitting a two-run bomb in this one. That came in the third inning with Jose Altuve aboard, who had a base hit into left field to get that thing started. Made it 2-0 at the time. Angels caught him at 2, but the Astros have advanced it to a 4-2 lead here as we go to the bottom of the 7th.
Luis Valbuena to lead it off. Pat Neshek in the Houston bullpen. Valbuena has a walk and a 2-run homer. New catcher in the game, Chris Iannetta, catches that pitch for strike one from Alvarez. Vinny Pestano is warming up in the bullpen for the Angels. He's checking. Chad Qualls has pitched this week Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. Springer and Gaddis to follow Valbuena here in the 7th inning. Scott Kazmir has a strong game going for Oakland. 7 innings, 1 run against Kansas City. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Alvarez had a 1-2-3 6th inning in relief of Garrett Richards. Minnesota has the edge on Cleveland 7-1. They're in the bottom of the 8th inning at Target Field. Off the plate for ball 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Nice vantage point there. Conoco pump out in left center field. That one rolls foul. Torrey Hunter has a home run for the Twins. Trevor Mays on the mound for them, or was on the mound for 6 innings, giving up 1 run.
Wonder if Joe West is behind the plate.
Ooh.
Torrey Hunter had a little issue with some calls from Joe earlier this year.
Yeah, it was a check swing call, and Joe was the home plate umpire. He called him for a swing without deferring to the first base umpire. Torrey was extremely vocal after that game. 3-2 to Valbuena. In the air and foul. This will probably be Torrey's last season. Terry Poole, number 21. Outstanding uniform.
Could hit, he could run, he could play defense. What a player.
He had for a long time the best career fielding percentage by an outfielder. Foul away. And of course, he grew up playing hockey in Canada. And now Terry is coaching in college ranks.
Very successful business guy in town.
Sure is. Scott Feldman threw 102 pitches. And he kept the Angels down to 2 runs in 6 innings. And there's a leadoff walk for Valbuena as the Astros try to add to their lead. Give the bullpen more working room. It's the 5th walk for Angel pitching today. And there may be a change coming. Stano's been warming up. That lefty on lefty matchup did not go the Angels' way. Springer and Gaddis, 2 right-handed batters coming up next. The Angels make a move. We'll be right back with a score 4-2 Houston.
Time for our progressive fan of the game. I'm with Chris and his nephew Michael. Check out Flava Flav over here with this necklace. This Astros. Where did you get this?
My friends make them. They make them for all different sports. They make them for Texans games, Astros games, Rockets games.
What is it made out of? You hold it up. It looks like it's really heavy, but
yeah, no, it's actually very light. It's made out of commercial grade styrofoam. So yeah, and it's real light. No wear or anything like that on my neck.
You're also, I've heard you are a big fan of the Texans as well. So you just like to dress up. This is your thing, right?
Oh yeah, I'm just a fanatic. You know, I love Houston sports, so I dress out for all the different games.
This is fabulous. I have to get me one of these. Brownie and Ash, you guys need one too, right?
That's a great medallion. Yes. Thank you, Julia. You cannot get that at the U.S. Mint either. Only in Houston. Thank you.
Those are going to be on the lapels of the new jackets, I think.
Pestano in the game. There's ball one to George Springer, who's been on twice with a walk and a single. He's stolen a base. He's scored a run. Vinny Pestano has an ERA of 0. Gave up a Jonathan VR pinch hit Friday night. He falls behind 2-0 on Springer. Springer hit a sac fly off Pestano with the bases loaded. And that one tied it 3-3 in the 7th inning. It was a really good job by George of getting the ball deep to right field to get the run home easily Friday night.
Pestano yet to yield a home run this year, but I was going to say with that 2-0 count, maybe the first is coming.
6th major league season for Vinny Pestano, drafted by Cleveland in the 20th round in 06 from Newport Beach, California. Cal State Fullerton, great baseball school. Springer let it fly. It's 2-2. Garrett Richards threw 100 pitches in 5 innings. Alvarez working the 6th. Now the Astros have Valbuena on with a walk, leading off the home 7th. Springer attacks this one to right field toward the corner, and George Springer has gone oppo. George Springer with a 2-run homer inside the right field foul pole, and that's being contested now by the Angels as Springer takes the tour. That's number 2 of the season for George, and number 2 in 2 games for George. But the Angels are contesting it.
Well, if that stands up, keep in mind I called it. Maybe not the right pitch, but that's really nice. Stay fair. Stay fair. That's what you're hollering going down the line. But the question is, did it? Dana DeMuth, home or first base umpire, liked it. Where does it go by? Is there a deflection? There might have been. I don't know. Yes. Is there an indentation? Is that a soft surface on that pole? Watch. It looks like indentation right there.
It did.
The previous frame. I don't know if things run in frames anymore, but look at right there. I think we're onto something there. Yeah.
It didn't really seem to affect the flight of the ball very much, so it may have just nicked it on the way down.
When George Springer hits him, you impact the pole and not the ball.
Very tough call.
I think we've got a fair ball there, but whether the umpires will see that same shot we just saw, they need to.
Well, and it could be as it was before. Is there evidence to overturn that call?
That's really the point.
It's been a very difficult day at first for Dana DeMuth. He's had some contested calls there. If it holds, it's home run number 2 in as many games for Springer. It gives him 2 runs batted in.
We're hearing conspiracies of illusion here. I'm not sure. What do we think? Wow.
Let's ask the guy who caught it.
Now George is just going to have to do it again.
They're going to overturn it. So they take the 2 runs off the board and call it a foul ball.
It's just a shame my theory didn't hold up there.
You see, Scioscia had used a challenge earlier, and he lost that challenge. But now, after the 6th inning, the umpires can initiate the challenge, and that was the case. It was not a manager's challenge. 2 balls, 2 strikes, the count on Springer after the foul ball call.
It's that up and away pitch. George hasn't had great deals of success with that, but hopefully it's moving in that direction.
Balbuena diving back in on the throw. Evidently they didn't see the indentation.
No, that's only keen eyes can see that.
Okay. Springer checked his swing. 3-2 now.
That was close. George is yet to put together a 2-hit game on the season. Let's see. Snyder. That could be called a strike.
Springer calls time. Now, one thing that the crew in New York might have looked at is the guy who caught that ball. Yeah. He had no problem catching. Swing and a miss. The runner goes. The throw is high and safe at second base. Kicks back toward the mound. Springer strikes out. So a 2-run homer is taken away from him, and he strikes out with Balbuena stealing second.
Yeah, good jump by Balbuena as he gets the bag. That high throw comes into play. Got to find a way to lock in at the bag.
Gio Votella up. He actually wound up batting the ball back toward the mound.
Small forward, but a good rebounder.
Now, Socha out to contend that perhaps Springer interfered with the catcher's throw.
Let's make our call. No dent in the foul pole.
Okay. Stepped out of the batter's box.
I guess what you could argue is that with that pitch away, that led him in that direction. I don't know. If you're catching, you're going to say certainly there was interference there.
Usually there must be contact when that catcher throws. And there was, but if he had lost his balance, then that allows him to try to step out there and regain it. Evan Gattis is 0 for 1 with 2 walks. So it's ruled unintentional contact.
Incidental, maybe.
Yeah, incidental. That'll work. Balbuena getting his first steal of the year.
One of the broadcaster options on the year.
Been some calls to mull over in this game, haven't there? This strike one to Gattis.
And most have dropped in the lap of Dana DeMuth down at first base.
He's had many decisions to make. Still 4-2 game. His call of home run was overturned. No balls, 2 strikes. But yeah, the guy who caught the foul ball, he probably wouldn't have been able to catch it if it had glanced off the pole, correct? He might have been.
Yeah, this is one of those situations where if you're an Astros fan making that play, make it look like it was impossible.
Gattis is down on strikes. 2 outs. This game turning in the Angels' favor, certainly this in a major way. Instead of down 6-2, it's 4-2. Pestano has struck out Springer and Gattis. Now he faces Lowry as 0 for 3. They'll put him on with Castro coming up next. Both bat left. That was their preference to face Castro.
That is an interesting decision.
It really is. Unless they're going to bring in a lefty reliever. Lowry's a switch hitter.
Well, and that's actually a really good point because obviously Lowry can turn around where Castro can't.
Lowry takes the free pass.
You nailed it, Brownie.
We're Going to look at the Springer foul ball.
Look at a duality look here. So is, oh man, that previous frame on the left, is that just tricks being played with our vision, or is that, did that guy actually catch that ball?
He caught it. Now here's my point. He's reaching out and the ball is not moving. It's going right into his glove. So it was where he thought it was, not that, you know, you can judge it based on that, but just one measure of the fact that it probably did not deflect off the pole. It could have. But he was still able to catch it, and he had his glove in that same place all along.
Maybe he just read it wrong.
That's quite possible. All right, lefty in the game. And now 2 men on. This is kind of a crazy contest today, Ash, with all the decisions the umpires have made, and that foul ball call could really impact this one in a major way.
Yeah, and of course you can play it the other way. Had Springer gotten the 2-run home run, what a difference in the 6th inning that play would have made, or 7th inning rather.
Yep. Meanwhile, Cesar Ramos, the lefty, warms up. So now, definitely lefty on lefty, with Lowry, the switch hitter, getting the free pass. Astros 1 for 3 in RBI on the infield hit in the 5th inning. Ramos in 5 games, 1-0 with an ERA of 0. He's done well against lefty hitters.
Pitched well on Friday. That's the big matchup for Jason Castro. And I think a lot of whether Jason plays against lefties as well as righties this year really comes down to early success against the left-handers. No golden opportunity.
In that game Friday, when Ramos came in, it was tied 3-3 in the 7th inning with a man on base, and he got a double play ball facing Lowry, and wound up being the winning pitcher because then Mike Trout hit a 3-run homer in the 8th inning. So here's the situation: runners at first and second, Valbuena at second, Lowry at first, 2 outs, Castro the batter.
Looking for his first hit against the left-hander on the season last year. Put up some numbers against the left-handers. Actually hit better than he did against right-hand pitching.
Carter's on deck.
Strike. Well, that'll make life tough. Let's see this one. Yeah, okay.
Ramos is 30 years old, from Los Angeles. He went to Long Beach State, pitched for San Diego and Tampa Bay. Angels got him in a trade last November for Mark Sappington.
Iannetta will get reviewed positively for pitch framing on that first one. Although I might contend it was anything but.
Who does the review? Mike Social?
I don't know.
Ramos was in 43 games last year. Line to second and caught by Gio Vitello. No runs, no hits, 2 men stranded. Moving to the 8th inning, 4-2 Houston.
Tickets or calling 1-877-9-ASTROS. Guys.
Thank you, Julia. We have changes for the Astros. Jake Marisnick takes over in center field. Robbie Grossman leaving the game after going 0 for 3. Marisnick in the number 9 spot in the order. Colby Rasmus has moved from center field to left field. And another change on the mound. Right-hander Pat Neshek comes in to work the 8th inning. Tony Sipp in 1 inning, allowing 1 hit, no runs, with a strikeout.
Submariner side armor, Pat Neshek comes on, and these 8th innings can be just as critical as the 9th, 6th outing on the year. Shutout inning last night, and right-handers just 2 for 10 against him, and that would seem to be the strength with this delivery.
After hitting Calhoun to lead it off, he's 1 for 3. And taking ball 1. Chad Qualls, as we mentioned, has worked Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday this week. Neshek worked it once in the Oakland series, and then last night. In the air, and that's going to go back out of play. 1-1. 24,254 on a Sunday afternoon to see the deciding game of this series. And Neshek is going to be a big part of that. Scott Feldman went the first 6, allowing 2 runs. Sipp the scoreless 7th inning after the leadoff hit by Ibar. 7 hits for the Angels, 5 for the Astros. The Angels had both errors in the game. And it's hooked foul. The pitch was up. Calhoun couldn't keep it fair though, and it's 1-2. It would appear that Chad Qualls is not going to be used unless there's a big change in this game. Qualls has 6 appearances. Gregerson 5, Neshek 5, and then you see the distribution just about even all the way down the line. Fouled away. Sam Deduno is the long man. Usually the long man has fewer appearances. And he has 4. But he's worked 7 innings. So Sam pitched 4 innings in 1 relief outing, and Asher Wojciechowski pitched 4 in relief. In the air, Valbuena sprinting over into foul territory and tried to reach in, make the catch on that foul ball, but he did not. Still 1-2. They get it. Did the Trout fan get it? No, he was disappointed.
Yeah, you go diving in here and become one of the customers. Might come up with that play.
Well, you don't want to go with Derek Jeter.
No.
Or Nolan Arenado.
Arenado, he came back with almost the same play a day or 2 after the great one a few days back.
Yeah. Or a lineup a dentist appointment with tactics like those, though. That's pretty bold stuff.
Yeah, that railing tends to be rather unforgiving.
It's a long season. Somebody once said. 2-2.
Heck, it's been a long game.
It's been a long game. In the air, Marisnick in center, controls over to his left. 1 down.
Here comes our steal pitch by pitch, and maybe this is the reason for the long game. I'm not really sure, but back in the 5th inning, Mike Trout required a good, long, and arduous piece of work to get him as he fouls off pitches, takes some pitches that were close and some not so close, and eventually on the 8th pitch of the at-bat, flies out to right field. That was a condensed version of the work by Scott Feldman to get a very tough out in Mike Trout.
Trout's 0 for 3, 2 for 6 against Pat with 4 punch outs against Neshek. And that one's over the outside edge for strike 1. Neshek has held on to tight leads twice in the Texas series for his 2 holds this season. And that's a swing. 0-2. Closer Luke Gregerson finished the 4-0 win last night. Yep.
You don't see Mike Trout pull off pitches on the outside part of the plate a lot, but he certainly did there.
Gregerson, even though he didn't get the save last night, finished the 4-0 win. It was a 1-2-3 ninth inning. Off the plate, 1-2. It's a good 0-2 pitch. Padres lead the Cubs at Chicago 5-2 in the bottom of the ninth inning. They have a home run from Solarte and another one from Middlebrooks, his third of the year. Struck him out. Well, he came with a cutter or slider and then followed that up with a fastball. That's a good sequence there.
Had him waving. A couple of poor swings in that at bat, and again, you don't see it a lot with Mike Trout, so something was very effective from Neshek. See if we can figure it out. Just 85 miles an hour. And Mike Trout, who tends to handle the outside corner well, that body, a lot was spent on that swing before he got to the impact zone.
Who holds the batter? But Julian Morales is up.
Well, I talked to Neshek today about the bullpen and the chemistry, and he said usually when you're in a bullpen, a new bullpen, it takes a month or two to kind of figure out the guys, figure out how the club's going to get along, but not the case of this bullpen at all. They were great from the beginning. They were close. A lot of these guys have known each other for years, and he says that's been a big reason why they've gotten off to such a good start.
It's kind of like San Diego East, isn't it? That's a strike. Exactly. 0-2. They were all Padres. Pujols 1 for 7 against Neshek.
Much less surfing going on here, I'm sure.
Yeah. Chad Qualls, Neshek, and Gregerson were all Padres. Foul back. In fact, Chad got on the phone and did some lobbying when free agency made Neshek and Gregerson available. Actually lobbied himself out of a closer's job. Thatcher was a Padre. But this team, you know, A.J. Hinch was talking earlier on that soundbite about how close they are. I really think that they are a very versatile bunch, and the fact that Chad would talk with these guys when they were free agents about signing with the club, and it might cost him some ninth inning roles, didn't faze him in the least. Pujols watches it sail. It goes to left field. They're getting up in the boxes, and Pujols has hit one out. That's his 46th career home run against the Astros, tying Hank Aaron for most by an Astros opponent during the regular season. Pujols hitting his third of the season to make it 4-3 now.
It looked like Neshek had Pujols. They were working away, and Albert was taking some weak swings, very much like Mike Trout. But this one stays up and finds some of the plate, and Albert able to get the barrel out there and turn it around to left field. Not a bomb, but enough here at Minute Maid Park. Now that swing has been seen many a time against the Astros.
Matt Joyce, 1-1. It's a one-run lead. Joyce is 0 for 3. Pujols also unloaded on the Astros in the postseason, as you know. In 04, he hit 4 homers against the Astros in the league championship series. And then 2 more in 05, including the historic one here off Brad Lidge in Game 5. But for regular season, he ties Hank Aaron now. 46 home runs against Houston, most of any opponent.
Those two really seem like they've got quite a rapport. Albert Pujols and Mike Trout, excuse me.
Yeah. 523 home runs for Pujols. It's a one-run game. 11 games into the season, this being number 12, neither of these clubs has played a game decided by 1 run. 3-1 to Joyce with Freese on deck. Neshek gets strike 2. That's the second home run allowed by Pat. This is his 6th inning of the year. In the air, Marisnick heading for right center. Springer's on the run. Springer calling. He peels off now as Marisnick handles out number 3. Albert Pujols goes deep. The Angels have all 3 of their runs on long balls, but the Astros lead it. Heading to the bottom of the 8th. It's 4-3 Houston.
A 6 good innings, 2 runs against him. Had that over-the-top curveball working, little cutter that he spotted well throughout the day. Played some defense on top of things. He allowed only 6 hits on the day and picked up 3 strikeouts. Did yield 1 home run, but has a chance to pick up a W this afternoon, and a big one if the Astros can convert and head on to Seattle with a .500 record.
Chris Carter with an 0-1 count. Swung at that first pitch from Ramos. Ramos is pitcher number 4 for the Angels. They're now down by just 1. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. They'll have Freese, Ibar, and Cron due up in the 9th inning. The Astros look for insurance here with Colby Rasmus on deck. Jake Marisnick due up 3rd. Luke Gregerson in the bullpen for Houston. Off the plate, it's 2-1. Well, we were mentioning a lot of famous events that took place in the Astrodome down through the years. On last night's telecast, we left out somebody.
Who's that?
Dancing Barry.
Oh, yeah. Forgot about him.
2-2. Cindy Svoboa contacting us. Cindy has said she and her husband Mike had many great memories in the Dome. Had their first date there, and her husband threw out a first pitch.
Big Dancing Barry fans, huh?
Yeah. Who exactly was Dancing Barry?
You know, apparently somebody named Barry that obviously was rhythmic.
Did he make a tour of various ballparks?
You got me, Browning.
Okay.
Kind of lost on that one. I remember the name.
It's not very often you say that. Carter hits it in the air to right center field.
Acknowledgement is a beautiful thing.
Calhoun with a catch, 1 down. Well, the Astros was chipped away in that 5th inning take a 4-2 lead. Now 4-3, but they don't have a hit since the Castro infield RBI single in the 5th. They've been out hit in this game 8-5. Colby Rasmus is 0 for 3. Arizona leads 5-1 at San Francisco. They're in the top of the 4th inning. Rasmus didn't move the bat off his shoulder. There's ball 1. Dancing Barry was Barry Richards, dancer who performed at NBA games under the stage name Dancing Barry, primarily with the Lakers. He was part of Showtime.
You apparently have the same piece of info I've got in front of me right now.
All right, you take it.
Well, he worked with the Houston Rockets as well, and I tell you, he was born in 1950.
He was a University of Houston guy.
Huh.
First danced at a Rockets game in the '75 NBA playoffs. Bill Worrell should know him then.
I'm sure he does.
Dancing Bill, we call him. 3 balls, no strikes.
There's a picture of Paula Abdul on the page I'm looking at. So apparently Dancing Barry was bigger than I thought.
Okay.
Sometimes performed with Queen Paula and the Lakers. Laker girl.
Rasmus draws a 4-pitch walk. He went up there with a bat on his shoulder. Never had to move it in the take mode, and he took 4 straight. Now Mike Scioscia has seen that combination backfired, and he's going to go to a different one here with Jake Marisnick coming up. Move back to the right-hand side of his bullpen. So pitcher number 5 will be is at a Laker game, Showtime, with a white tuxedo on.
No wonder the Lakers were so good. They had that kind of entertainment backing them. Wow.
This guy could really dance.
I guess that's literally dancing in the aisles, huh? Magic was impressed.
Bottom of the 8th inning. Jake Marisnick's the batter. Runner at first, 1 out. Mike Morin is in the game. And the throw goes over to first. Rasmus drawing that throw after accepting the 4-pitch walk from Ramos. Morin has an ERA of 4.91 in 5 games.
Big part of the bullpen for the Angels a year ago. 60 appearances and a 2.90 ERA, so he was quite good for Mike Scioscia.
Bobby Grossman took him the other way for that 3-run homer last night in the 7th inning.
That's a rare feat because Morin allowed just 3 home runs in 59 innings a year ago.
He came in last night. There was a runner at second and 2 outs. He walked Altuve intentionally. Marisnick with a swing, 0-2, and then Grossman burned the Angels after that free pass with the 3-run homer. Marisnick 10 for 30, 333 hitter, has 1 homer, 5 runs batted in. Had a hit, stole a base, scored a run in last night's game. Foul ball, keeps it at 0-2 for Jake. Jake has started all but 2 games in center field. And as Julia mentioned earlier, A.J. Hinch told the media today, on this road trip, starting at Seattle and continuing at Oakland and San Diego, there's a lot of outfield to be covered in those 3 ballparks, so don't be surprised if Marisnick starts in center field just about all those games. He really likes the 3 center fielders he has now. George Springer has been a center fielder playing right this year. And Colby Rasmus has played a lot of left field, but he's been by a lion's share a center fielder, considering all his playing time in the major leagues. 1-2. Paul Goldschmidt has homered for Arizona 5-1 at San Francisco in the 4th inning. He's hit 5 already. He connected off Tim Hudson. Texas leads Seattle 7-5 in the bottom of the 3rd. Fouled away. Still plenty of time for the Mariners to turn things around, but right now they're in the cellar of the AL West. Paxton started for them today, giving up 7 runs in 2 2/3, but only 2 were earned. Nelson Cruz is at a pair to give him 8 home runs. 2-2.
And some of us thought last year might have been the anomaly.
Yeah, he's driven in 4 runs already in that game. His slugging percentage right now .909. Slicing ball up the right field line into the seats. Still 2-2.
What time's your flight today, Brian?
Same time as yours. I mean the flight along Interstate 10.
Yeah, good luck with that one.
It wasn't so cool last night with the fire trucks out on the freeway. It was shut down. Ball 3rd, Freeze to 2nd, Giovanella to 1st, high and late. Pujols has been coming off the bag to grab errant throws several times today. 2 outs now, runner at 1st, and Altuve will bat.
It's hard to tell on one individual throw. You don't know what components went in, but Giovanella at second base on this play doesn't show a strong arm, and that can cost in some double play opportunities.
Now the fact that they did not turn 2 gives Altuve a chance to bat. He's 2 for 4. Marisnick has been a proficient base stealer. 3 for 3 this season.
Get some MVP chanting for Altuve.
Okay.
Seems a little early for the voting to be coming in, but
well, it's not too early for chanting. Ionetta's out to talk it over. Coming up after this game and after the Astros postgame show is the Jose Altuve documentary. Big Dreams, the Jose Altuve story. Produced by MLB Productions and narrated by Dennis Quaid. Airing right here. Ground ball third. It hits the bag. Pops up in the air. Altuve has a hit. Marisnick back to second base. A 3-hit game for Altuve.
All right, so when you see hits like this, a chopper hitting the bag at third base, I would say pretty good chance of another big year happening. These are the elements that a lot of players say, "You're kidding me. I just hit 5 line drives at people, and that's a hit." But great years are made up of a whole lot of elements.
They are. Marisnick had to go back to second. Second 3-hit game of the season for Altuve. Valbuena the batter. Ball 1 to him.
If you're keeping score at home, that's a .320 batting average now for Jose.
He had 24 3-hit games last year for a club record. Probably on a pace to do that again. Bueno takes a look at that one, and it's 2-0. You're on a pace to be in Seattle later tonight, Ash.
I don't really see where that pace is taking place right now. But
the Astros would like to prolong this 8th inning a little bit, so they'll make it easier for the top of the 9th. That might help. Out into left center field. Caught. To end the 8th inning with no runs, a hit, 2 men stranded. Moving to the 9th, it's a 1-run Houston lead, 4-3. Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. 9th inning coming up here. The fans are going maybe for another sandwich or something quick because it's a 1-run game and they want to see Luke Gregerson facing the Angels in the top of the 9th. He comes in with that 1-run lead after getting the final 3 outs on the 4-0 win last night.
Luke Gregerson, 6th game of the year. Shutout inning last night. Came over, of course, from Oakland. That last year he'd been with the Padres prior to that, and they have a big year as the closer now for the Astros.
David Freese first up. Freese is 1 for 3, a single and a run scored in the 4th inning. Ball 1 from Gregerson. Pat Neshek in 1 inning led 1 hit, 1 run with no walks, 1 strikeout. Apparently the bad blood has resurfaced between the Athletics and the Royals. The Royals won the game 4-2 over Oakland. In for a strike, and it's 1-1. Getting word that there were multiple ejections. Royals manager Ned Yost, right-handed pitcher Kelvin Herrera, center fielder Jared Dyson. Backhanded Valbuena over to Carter. There's one out for Gregerson.
Nice work. That ball sharply hit. If it gets by Valbuena, you never know. It might be 2 bases. Well off the line, too, and that could set up the double to start the inning, which is not what the Astros would want. But really nice play.
He's played well at third base. Eric Ibar is 1 for 3. Pitching coach Dave Island was thrown out of the game. Bench coach Don Wakamatsu for Kansas City. Those clubs have gotten into it throughout this series. 4 Royals getting tossed from the game.
Love Don Wakamatsu. Good baseball guy. Very intelligent fella.
1-1. Foul ball makes it a ball and 2 strikes with Chris Crone on deck. Astros trying to make it 2 out of 3 wins over the Angels in this series. It would be a 3-3 homestand for A.J. Hinch and a 6-6 start to the season if they can nail this one down. Best start since 07 for the first 12 games, 6-6. And a strikeout gets them within 1 out of doing that.
Tight slider down and in. Just breaks it down under the barrel of the bat. Kind of over the top with that downward bender.
Now Gregerson versus Crone. Crone hit the 2-run homer in the 4th inning. He's 1 for 3. And strike 1 for Luke. He got his first save of the year here. And the Astros beat Cleveland opening night 2-0. Shot on the ground, Carter. And the Astros are a 500 club. Luke Gregerson gets save number 2. Scott Feldman win number 1 of the season. The Astros scrambling for 2 runs in the 5th inning. Grab the lead and hold off this Angel team. Houston winning the series to go 5-4 now against the American League West. 4-3 final for the Astros today.